We're back with part 2 of this week's Melbourne Pro Punters panel.
Or if you're jumping part 78, he's just tapering.
Well, I'm just getting ready for the big 6-day week. There's not enough racing this week. Boys, we were back at Caulfield on Saturday. It was an interesting meeting. There wasn't as much money there as I thought there was going to be. There was a few people kicking around, but...
What do you put that down to?
I think it could be a sign of things to come, Ralph. I reckon across the board the holds are about half of what they were for that meeting last year.
Wow.
And I hope that there's a rally over the next couple of weeks, because otherwise I think if we have a tough carnival and the holds are way down, there will be a dwindling bookmaker population.
I wonder if that's a sign of the footy season running later. And by that I mean an extra week, but also real interest in these interstate sides. Remember you were saying about the chat room the week before when all of a sudden the Sydney game started at 2:05.
I would just say that at Caulfield today I had one of my worst days of the year, and I really, in hindsight, bet too confidently at that meeting. And the problem is there wasn't much Caulfield form feeding that meeting, and the 9 winners there on Saturday, not one of them had their previous start at Caulfield. Not one. There was 2 from Sale, a bunch from Flemington, 1 from Moonee Valley, but none of them had come off a Caulfield run. So the good news is the next several weeks there's a lot of Caulfield meetings, so
We'll spend half my life there.
we'll be using Caulfield form, which will be a lot more helpful to us.
What you really need to take into account with last Saturday was a brutal headwind, and when I say headwind I mean from the home turn back. So by the time they're in the straight, they've already copped it all. What that meant was there was a genuine good track, and I've had seen the correspondence Darren Murphy put down, who's as good as anyone to judge. Said no, the surface was a good 3, so you saw the time smothered by about 12 lengths. I'll give you some info from Vince Carty's daily sectional times soon. But in reality, Caulfield, good 3, no wind, leaders win. Leaders run very well. Not one leader won on Saturday. There was the horse of Stewie Webb's Legless Verb. There was OSL.
There was another OSL. There was some astonishingly bad riding.
Shocking.
Wind paranoid riding.
That's what I'm saying. So it's a double shot. I've got no doubt, we'll take the piss out of the all-important government, but I've got no doubt it had an effect on leaders, the resistance side of things. But as Pot said, what then happens was you get this overcompensation and fucking riders just giving a horse no chance. And here's one to Google, or racing.com or whatever, but rich enough, when Michael Rod rode it from an outside barrier in the Guineas Prelude, the wind was stronger than it was last Saturday. Same direction, and he fucking went quick, and everything was trying to chase it.
Yeah.
Now,
I'm pretty sure
that's how you ride on a fast
same
horse.
day, Ralph. Kenja would run on the same day, doing exactly the same
100%.
thing.
Yeah, 100%. It was. And
Right.
that's mathematical facts as opposed to vibes.
The Alfred Hospital plate was race 1, which is probably where I'm heading to after this.
If they take it.
It's well, I'd only be used for spare parts. That's about it. Was taken out by Super Cash for Craig Williams and Nobby. It was 3:30 and a 3:10. There was a bit of money around for it in the ring. It wasn't truckloaded, but there was a bit of money floating around.
Just a quick one on this race. Obviously there was I can't remember the horse that was scratched at the barriers.
Tina Molina.
Tina Molina, and then
Jalan should have been scratched at the barrier.
Yeah, should have been scratched for mine. You know, if there is any concern over a horse, then surely, you know, they must err on the side of caution and in the punter's favour. I mean,
What about the punters?
What about the punters?
Exactly.
There's not many what about the punters in him today, so let him do it.
But, you know, that horse seriously should have been scratched, and I'm not blaming, you know, its performance on what happened pre-race, but, you know, for the look of racing, you don't know. And
that's
for
what
the
you want
image
to
of
know.
racing, you want certainty, and that horse should have come out.
So I would say if this race wasn't race 1 and it was race 6 or 7, bear with me on this, I would have completely opened the shoulders. Because what was unknown at the time was that what effect that headwind was having on it. And of course, if you don't know Caulfield well, from the 1,000, the 1,100, the 1,200 races there, 800 metre, 700, 600 metre straight line runs into that headwind. So Super Cash has got a real big strong finish on her, and as it was, she was good anyway. What's that?
The important part to note there is, Ralph, it didn't used to be as big an issue, but I think a year or 2 ago they knocked down a grandstand that is completely opened it up now. It's a wind tunnel.
It's been a double shot since I was a kid. When Matt was not born. No, but there used to be a big Guineas grandstand there.
Yeah.
And then they knocked that back, and then they've knocked back another one, and you're 100% right. So now what was genuine cover for most of it. Now it's just a complete open plain with the exception of the last 200. It was good. Mossing around proves it's a dry tracker. Hello, some horses do like dry tracks. And I'll give you one here. Take Pride, I reckon, was a nice first up run after a long time off if they go to the Valley Rail out.
Yeah.
He's a hard trainer to catch. So
He's a very hard trainer to catch.
I thought the winner was really good here because it trialled just averagely leading in, and I must admit I backed Jalan, so talking through my kick when I said it should have been scratched, but the winner was huge, and I reckon it's got heaps of improvement to come out of that, and on the times it was one of the better performances of the day. So I think sort of Group 2 races for it over the spring, Group 3, Group 2.
It was a very handy racing one at Flemington on Australian Cup.
Yeah.
So you'd have to think it's a horse doing that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I agree with all that. I think she was the fastest horse in that race, but I didn't like her first up profile, and I didn't really like her jump outs. And she paraded poorly, and she's won anyway. So
big effort.
she will improve significantly second up.
Race 2 was the Handbrake Harry White Classic, taken out by Al Mandan for Damien Oliver and the ever-talkative Robert Hickmott. And we had one of the few weir runners, well, especially things that were in the market, Black Tomahawk. It was 3:30 out of 3:70 and proved that it had the heart of the Geelong Football Club.
Got to say this, all I want to say about this race is form means nothing in this race.
No, it's irrelevant. They ran, 600 metres basically, 700 metres.
Well, it's just the form going into the race meant nothing, and now they just, Black Tomahawk actually come through a serious race and didn't compete. The two Williams horses had no platform, and they've elevated significantly. So I don't know what you say about it.
I'm a bit of a rap for the two Williams, I was going to say, because on this basis that
There was no signs I'm going to do that.
maybe our man and just dry trip. No, I think we're going to do this again.
Yeah,
and a sign didn't show speed, but he showed speed last prep, so I think he's still got that in his armour. And the other thing from the race is that was one of only 2 rides that Caitlin Mellion had. Rode it perfectly, rode the next one perfectly. Why is she not getting it right?
Took off at the right time as well.
That's what I'm
Really,
saying.
just
No,
absolutely took off at the right time.
Sadly for Katie, I think once the big boys start coming to town, I think Hubert and Ollie will have
No, I accept that, but I'm
Yeah.
talking about in general for the whole.
Oh yeah, but it's it just shows sort of how
It's better than many.
I have to say, I'm
no
a lot
doubt.
more optimistic about our man than I am a sign, because me and DK got our fingers burnt on the sign last prep. We got a bit excited about that horse, and he's got a chink, he's not a complete racehorse. But Al Mandan, he might be.
On the times though, they've obviously gone extremely slowly here, especially in the middle section of the race. I mean, is that gone against those sort of 2,500 metre horses like Black Tomahawk and stuff who are a little bit out the back, and they would have preferred it to be a bit more genuinely run so they could just grind away?
Well, what I liked about it on Vince's figures was the big mid-race surge. So that's when you see a horse on a slow tempo staying race, you need to see that big lift into the mid-race, and you certainly saw that with this Al Man, and you didn't see it as much with the sign, but as I said, because he went slowly, relative, and no doubt, my instructions are fair enough where it was in its prep over 2,400, but I think next start he can go significantly faster next start, and that's what I think the improvement.
People are wondering about the contradiction there between what Ralph and Matt are saying. Vince's figures that the mid-race in this section is from the 1,700 to the...
And 800 to 400.
800.
Yeah, so after they've gone 1,700 metres.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, exactly.
It was, sorry, 1,600, 2,400 metres.
Yeah.
I'm on the same bus
Contagious,
as
boss.
Juppie.
It's contagious.
So after 1,600, so Matt's saying prior to that, they were going slow, but then in that section between the 800 and the 400, they
And
have
that's where those
taken
horses,
off. That's
those
when
horses took off. Wayland Era and
Nick Hall took off.
yeah, a couple of them took off.
Race 3 was taken out by Royal Rapture, who he was pretty solid in the market. The stable backed it. That's why it sort of SP'd 330, top fluck 330, but it was 360 best hope.
So we went from a previous race where the form meant nothing going into the race, and then we come to this race where the form was everything. So these horses just run to what they've been doing.
I think. I think probably the horse I want to take out of the race there is Bring Something.
Yeah, that's who I've got.
Trialled up well at Cranbourne on a couple of occasions leading in, obviously off a long spell, and probably suited by the fact they went slowly approaching the turn, and that brought him into the race. But he finished off pretty well for a horse looking for a Cranbourne Cup or something like that. I'd follow it.
If that's all you knew about him, if that's the only thing you knew about him, you go, oh, this is an interesting horse. But I can't get his history out of my mind,
Yeah,
really.
that's
but
right.
that
But
was that was a particularly encouraging run.
The thing is, he's trialled well leading in as well.
Yeah, no,
you've
that's
got,
good.
You've got a few things to go on.
If he holds together, there was a lot to like about him.
Well, the other thing with it was he was 100s in the 40s,
Yeah.
and like they were happy to throw some money on to find out. So
Here's something, and this is opinion, not fact, but opinion. I think if it wasn't a brutally headwind day, I think Mahoney would have pissed him. But it didn't, and no fault of the jockey. That's what it was.
I think that was a good ride, though. That's a good ride. I mean, there was no other way to win the race on that horse. He had no other choice.
No, I'm saying
I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah.
I'm agreeing with you. I'm just saying that, the win was an inconvenience to that horse, but he gave it every opportunity to at least win the race. Let's run a really good race, and Royal Repsizani got it late.
Yeah.
Whereas a bunch of other leaders on the day have been given almost no chance by going 10 lengths slower than they should have.
And our Century was a very nice run, probably one of the better runs you'd see from a horse resuming after 824 days off. And Nick Williams is a bloody good sport, who doesn't have to ban him. Oh, fuck like he needs it. I happen to have known him for a while, so I thought I'll just put the bait out because he loved Ed his article. It's very smart boy. No, he's winding people up like we do. So I said to him on Twitter, I said, given your stance on punters, could you give us a hand? How do you think our Century will be ridden compared to his recent tactics? And Nick said he will be ridden. But he said it's been a big long haul, and that's where I think, in all seriousness, when you're trying to read the Team Williams operation, it's a pretty logical thing to ask yourself. Why would they be bothered persisting with the horse after 824 days unless it's still got a fair bit of ability? So it showed enough.
race 4 was the Inglis Cup, which was taken out by a horse that I'm known for, Portion Control. He was $13, $13.40 best tote. It wasn't any real stable money or anything for him in the ring, so he was just sort of there
for the
thereabouts.
$6?
$6.
Pay up, bro.
No, that's one thing they'll put on my headstone, Ralphie, the world's greatest settler.
That's it.
I'll go Owen, no one.
That's it.
So I mean, it's a restricted English race. So we should pay it its due. As much attention to it as it deserves. None.
No, they've run at a reasonable tempo though,
fast,
and the three horses were in a line just behind the speed there. They sat, I think, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and that's where they came from. And so Willie was closing off for the video watchers, will no doubt be all over that next start. But,
yeah, please be on it. Please be on it. Particularly Mooney Valley. Please just say that's the horse.
It was so obvious that race was going to open up on the inside where the winner was. Why wouldn't Froggy just follow the winner through and beat it? Like, why did he steer that horse
he went outside
into the
and
traffic
came
jam?
back. Yeah.
It's not his fault, to be fair to say.
There's our Captain Obvious moment for the day. Froggy not in form. Jesus, he's about as fly blind as I am. Race 5 was the Schweppes 1,000 Guineas Prelude.
Here we go.
Hey?
There'd be 3 of him here.
He could get into me with the Spurs. He actually might be someone who could probably get something out of me today. The 1,000 Guineas Prelude was taken out by Legless Verve, who was just hammered. He was 17 into 12, but he kicked back out and paid $15.80 best tote, and Whispering Brook was rock solid in this race, and there was also specking for Samara Dancer.
Rock solid. Jesus Christ! It was relentless.
Yeah.
It was irrational. Anyway, it was irrational. So,
And they never found out.
nope. Anchor drop.
Too slow.
Anchor drop in. So,
But the horse sitting outside did win, so no excuses.
well, I think she coped with the anchor drop better than Whispering Brook, who's a fast horse, which they took away Whispering Brook's asset. But one thing, we were talking about prices in part 1, and I think that's where, even if you don't do times, particularly if you do, because the wind and sail was sound, that's where those horses that could be anywhere between 12s and 40s, when they're more in the 12s and they're being backed, take no punts. Like, that's to me it was a very good lead that this horse that not only did well at sale, which we knew from times, but had gone on.
Yeah, it wasn't a super win at sailing. Probably one of the big things, with Legless Verve leading into that sale race again is it trialled quite poorly leading into that. So,
right.
I gave it a small chance on the fact that it's probably got a lot of improvement coming out. One of the few things I got right for the day, to be honest. But They've obviously gone too slow for Whispering Brook. I have a question though, as the question mark as to whether it would have run a genuine 1400 anyway. I see they're going to 1,000 guineas. I reckon it's about 500 to 1 to run the trip. Well, run the trip at the speed of the Sydney horses anyway. I would have thought.
I'll take the 500s.
Yeah, well,
I just think the format of that race is completely murning horses.
Yeah.
Sebring Dream.
They've given them these horses, these fillies down here, are already extremely vulnerable, to say the least, to the Sydney fillies,
absolutely.
right? Now they've given themselves no hope. So well done to the jockeys in that race. Not only did you not help yourselves do the best in the race, you've now left your horses completely bereft of a platform.
Sebring Dream. Do you think they might think of putting it in a race? Like that horse has got some talent.
There's Craig Williams. Craig Williams riding brilliantly all day, and then he gets on her and he just gives a nut.
Race 6 was the Ladbrokes Caulfield Guineas Prelude, and
super form this.
Taken out by Sacred Elixir, who was 12s into 9s, shortened up a little bit on the totes. They backed a couple of others in the race too. There was plenty of money for Saraceno. Archives was unlayable, and Evacuation was well backed.
Potts. There's a link between 5. All 5 of them would thrash a stern. and impending.
Sorry, pardon me for not picking up on the.
They would kill them. So, look,
we don't have to worry about a stern. Now, a stern's finished, isn't he?
Yeah, but impending.
Well, there's a bunch of them
Impending was pretty disappointing on Saturday. So I'd stick with this form.
Wait, hang on, time it. Right, so. Impending can't win the Guineas.
Can't win the 1,000 Guineas.
No, they can't win the Caulfield Guineas either.
Exactly.
I think probably
because I've got a futures ticket on it. I've got none. It's like my GWS Giants ticket and my Casey Scorpions from yesterday ticket. And you watch the Bulldogs hose up now because I'm on Sydney as well.
I thought probably Ollie, I think, who rode Saraceno, had the option to take hold of the race early and elected to drop him behind. And I thought probably erred there. He's the best jockey in Victoria, goes without saying, but I think he made an error there, and I think that horse would have been probably in the finish and arguably could have won the race. I think one horse who ran quite well here was So Side Bond, who backed up from running at Pakenham 7 days earlier. I think they conceded from the wide draw, but I think that horse has a bit more tactical speed than that, and I think up to a mile, probably not the Caulfield Guineas, but a slightly lower race than that, they can make advantage of a decent barrier, put it up on speed, and be hard to beat. But I don't think the form out of the race is going to be much to take forward.
Oh, totally agree. So one thing I think you should do when the best do something a bit different or a bit wrong is ask yourself why the best. And actually, the first time for us, not you, but when DK was there, remember when Ollie went very slowly on second bullet and just got beaten by Caspian? Yes. And we were blowing up, and then afterwards, DK said maybe he was just riding to beat Real Love. Yeah. So he thought it's a stay of quality, let's go slowly, and then another thing's come up and that can beat it that much. I think the same type of thing you can probably ask it here, Matt, is that what he did with Saraceno, he probably gave it the same run that Royal Rapture had, because he wanted to get cover. There was a real reasoning to get cover. So you sit second line, you hope the brakes come, but it didn't.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily tactical error, but what a big headwind does is force good jockeys to make decisions that can make it.
And you could see when he jumped out, he looked like he wanted to go forward for a second, and then thought, they're probably going to go quick enough. Yes. And they sort of stopped.
The form of the race is right. Esbaster's on a 50s chance there, right? Its best chance is to be ridden for luck. But no, Steve's got to come out of the gate, scrub the ears off the thing to hold the front, and the minute he gets control of the race, then he just hits the brakes like nothing and destroys the race. So, well done, Steve. I sort of don't blame Ollie, because Ollie was probably going to go to the front, and then Bassett just wanted to scrub the ears off whatever the Ulan horse was called.
The big theme out of Friday and Saturday's racing was this necessity to slow down in the middle of the race. It happened in almost every race, and particularly at the Valley, it's accentuated when you watch it on TV. It looks like they're all going to run into the back of each other. You can see how dangerous it is.
So you remind me of one, and the kid is going very, very well. Jordan Childs in the last race on Lake Como. That is the prime example for two reasons. One, it would have won at Pakenham, I think, was his opinion, but Maloney, for some bizarre reason, goes, no worries, Damien Lane, you own the race. And then all Jordan Childs had to do was say, well, this thing of Wild's got a bit of talent, I'm going to be a fair way in front of him, let's see. And that's what he did. So well done to Jordan Childs, exactly what you're saying. That's how you do ride when there's no headwind.
Yeah, exactly. So I just want to say on the road, like, for me the form is almost meaningless. The only meaning in it for me is that the winner is a very good horse. He's a very strong horse. He's a momentum horse. And the way this race was run actually allowed him to use his momentum, because the other chances in the race gave theirs away. Like, they were in positions where they could not get momentum at all. This horse is going to be competitive in everything over a mile, and he'll be very good when he gets to 2,000 metres.
You could see also coming around the bend, he was off the bit quite early.
Yeah.
He's clearly a horse looking for a mile.
Yeah, absolutely. He's a big, strong horse. He's a nice horse.
Race 7 was the Yulong Park Sir Rupert Clark Stakes. Interesting betting race. They put plenty on counter attack, but it was taken out by Bonorum, who was rock solid. He traded 420, 440 the whole way through. He was just really solid in the market.
Like that conversation we were just having earlier about also remember on first up, what's it called? In the 70. No, the one that you talk about, the old horse that went hundreds in the 40s.
Bring something.
Bring something, sorry.
Which is what I'm doing.
Bring enough.
I've got plenty of it too.
No, I've completely off track.
Yeah, we got it.
Bonorum.
Can I just talk about Bonorum, right?
Yeah.
Bonorum, if you just went off the evidence of his last run, which is what the market did, what the really astute punters did, you would have marked him a clear favourite. Now, we had a discussion about this horse, about that race last time, how it was sort of slowly run, but he finished the race off.
Yeah.
So the last 800 was outstanding. It was Group 1, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But when you thought back to his past, when he stepped up to that top level, he really did struggle to get to compete. So that's sort of held me back from marking the price I should have.
Yeah.
But like, well done to the market and all the big players who just really decided this horse was. Well, I wouldn't say like they were going to back it at any price. They just kept backing it.
But he didn't even have to repeat the last effort to win here. Reality is this was a very weak Group 1.
Well, counter attack's a very good horse when things go his way.
Right.
But Kay McAvoy here from barrier 5, I thought he got it out 3 wide very early in the race, and that's where the horse needs to be, and that clearly won the horse.
And isn't it funny the difference between...
He's an outstanding jockey in Melbourne. He seems to come to Melbourne and any of the insecurities he feels in Sydney disappear, and he just rides more confidently down here than he does in Sydney. So.
That's a very good point. And I'm trying to work out why, and maybe it's because when he's in Sydney, he thinks, well, at worst, I'm talking about his own mindset, but he'd say, well, Q's definitely as good as me, and he's as good as me, and he's as good as me. He'd probably come down and say, well, I'm the star coming in. And he rides like he's a star down here.
Yeah.
And that, I saw you put it out on Twitter, positioning was sensational. But also, one of the things I've really learned from Vince's figures is the best jockeys, they clearly aren't intending to do it, but they ride to the numbers, in fact. So either they're smooth, or they increase slightly, or they decrease slightly, depending on the type of horse. And Kay McAvoy's ride was inch perfect, plus half a length above benchmark between the 400, 200 and 200 home. And what that is perfect efficiency of the animal. And it was a star ride. Counter-attack, conversely, things didn't go his way. I watched it a few times. I don't think Williams did anything wrong. I think some obviously fucking bad out. I didn't, but I did get very amused. One of my themes in the steward's report. He thinks it'd be better with cover. Did they see the Group 2 one in Brisbane where he was 3 wide without cover, throughout and pissed him? It's just such a nonsense. Some of the stuff that goes in there. What happened was they went fast and he was in the headwind and over race.
There was a point in the race, a key point in the race, where Kieran McAvoy made exactly the right decision and Chris Parnham didn't. But I think that's been a bit hard on Chris. I don't think he rode Vita like too. Like in the end, he rode pretty well. I've got to say that horse ran much better than I thought he would. So
I don't think he could have won no matter what happened.
Yeah, it was going to be.
I thought that was his absolute opportunity. Fast and Rocking is Fast and Rocking. Thames Court.
Just on Fast and Rocking,
Yeah.
if he draws barrier 15, probably win. Goes close.
I understand what you're saying because
He's fast and rocking. He's fast and rocking. He wouldn't win. He doesn't win.
No, that's true.
But can someone explain his
I don't think he's
Can someone explain his Moonee Valley run to me?
Yeah. So
What happened there?
well,
try.
maybe a bit similar to the horse we're meant to get to, but he came off 2 very, very slow tempo races at Caulfield. Then they've probably backed off him thinking, well, this run will get him peaking for the grand final. Out the back, He's got Betfairitis, ridden conservatively 60 kilos because we know
They
stable
just went
weight
straight
good weight.
past him there. Just went straight past
No,
him.
but that's what I'm saying. So they've probably backed off him to say, well, you know, you've had two nothing runs, frustrating ones, unlucky runs. There's your run, and that's not saying nothing. Perfectly legitimate tactics, and the market told you accordingly, and then that's brought him on, and then they probably said, right, oh boy, here's your grand final. They probably poured the work up into leading into the race.
One of the other things, you mentioned that headwind there, Ralph. You know, horses who have had that suck run up in behind horses all the way down the straight. Are they going to be hugely flattered going forward? Those who have basically not been exposed to the wind.
Fair point. And the ones who were exposed would probably be risky.
Yeah.
Could be the opportunity.
Race 8 was in Highland Race Colours Underwood Stakes. It was taken out by the extremely well-backed Blackheart Bar. The stable backed it. Some of the big players wanted to be on it, and all prices were taken, and they just crunched it. And it takes a fair amount of cash to do that in a Group 1 race, especially a Group 1 race like that. They really ploughed into here.
So from the opening jumpy, like on Wednesday, he sort of just gradually slowly drifted to about 2:30.
Yeah.
And then I'd started backing it at 2:30 just to make sure he wasn't a loser for me. And while I was doing it, someone just come straight over the top, and it was and from that point on, it was just relentless.
Yeah.
Because I mean, my angle in that race was just to oppose Lucia Valentina and try and get a result out of some of the fringe dwellers, but and not lose on Blackheart Bar.
And
you go first. I'm about to do a confession.
And there was, if you were out there was 260 on 2 or 3 boards, and I think if they had waited, they may have nearly reached and got it to 7-4, and then it would have been complete game on. I think they would have put more on it then. So
that's an interesting point, Joey. Since with the VOP coming in, there is some on-course bookmakers chancing their arms. So for people that want to back favourites, there's an opportunity to get out on track and get a better price than you're getting at the corporates and on the official fluctuations.
And if you make it race?
Oh, look, I mean, you know, as I'm sure you'll agree with, they've gone extremely slowly, and Blackheart Bard is the best sprinter in the race, and he's dashed past him. You know, that's the reality. I don't think...
What's the first section, Ray?
Minus 6.3. Wow.
So, you know, there's I saw a bit of commentary after the race and a few articles saying that Blackheart Bart's thrown down the gauntlet, thrown down the challenge to Winks, and, you know, the reality is this horse sort of proved the uppermost of its distance for mine at Flemington when it was a bit more of a genuine test. You know, I don't think it runs 1,800 metres. It's run 800 metres on Saturday, and you know, good luck to win a Cox Plate, but it'll be 10 or 15 lengths behind the Winks. I would have thought, you know, come the end of the race.
Winks is that thing that gets beaten up by First Seal in Sydney, isn't it?
So a couple of things. Firstly, I bollocked it up. So I thought I just couldn't envisage them going slowly in a fit. So the cleaner went 6 lengths above benchmark at Moonee Valley. So there wasn't one thing to say that this horse hasn't got his whole zest for racing back. Now, frankly, I'm not accusing anyone of anything, but if Stewart's had access to that on the day, they should have called in every jockey. Because what that actually told you was, through the intelligence of the market, is the data room still going?
Yeah, well, they normally put it up there and...
What the issue is, Ralph, is that they've run like a second and a half or more quicker than the other 2 races at the same distance on the same day.
No, there's no other races.
No, there's no other races.
There's no other races.
Oh, sorry, no, I'm thinking about
No,
I'm obviously showing the effort last night.
No, but what I'm saying is, the truckload said, and I was so embarrassed afterwards. We were all, like, we didn't get it wrong, and particularly when you're public. It's bad enough when you do it for yourself, but when you're public, as you guys are, you sort of. And I was so embarrassed. I thought, fuck, how did I get it so wrong? And then out comes the numbers. So, I remember last year after Noel Kelly rode the cleaner, and he was 1.5 lengths above benchmark. He came back and he said to Dean Lester, I think I fucked up. I should have gone past him. Which is the cleaner's strengths. Now, for those who don't follow, the cleaner's typical comfort zone is going fast between 5 and 10 lengths above. So last year he went 1.3 above, and then on Saturday he's gone 6.5 below. Jackano Basics 3 lengths back. He or she and Blackheart Bart, sit another 3 lengths back. What the fuck was everyone doing? Now the market screamed to you, this race is going to be an 800 metre sprint. And the market exactly got it right.
Yeah.
Now to me, that is where, because I want to know why everyone sat back and did nothing and played the Blackheart Bart strengths. So why aren't the people policed with racing asking questions to then put it on the public record to ask it that way? Because let's face it, I look at that, those times, and Matt Stewart's article saying the tempo's ferocious, and I'm worried that the stewards look at racing as well as Matt Stewart does, i.e. just by watching video. Because it did look fast. I'm looking at it going, fuck, well, geez, they're strung out. But in actual fact, when you look at Steve Arnold, he's restrained the horse early. And the lack of logic to his tactics was, if the headwinds from the 400 back to the 800-ish, there's your time to go quickly
put a hole
early.
in it
And then so do your best into it, but at least by then haven't hurt him. So I put it this way. I totally agree with you about the wings comparison. We went to Caulfield not knowing if you can run a strong 1800. We left Caulfield not knowing because that wasn't a strong 1800.
I still think that the proof was in the Flemington run for mine. I think
I'm
he's
with
one
you.
of the
That's
best
why I posted.
1400 metre horses going around. Don't get me wrong, absolutely magnificent horse, and Darren
Darren
Weir has done a tremendous job with this horse and the winner of the last. But you know, I couldn't see him running in the top few in the Cox Plate.
But one other point that I don't think anyone's touched on, and this is the weird genius of action. I'm not saying that one now, I think it's smart ass. Blackheart Bart was set to win the Memsey first up. He won the Memsey first up. The horse that was set to win the Mackay third up was Palantino. Now, after a big exertion, because it was truly run the Memsey, he's probably said, "Well, your next target's the Underwood.
Yeah. Well,
Palantino's target is the Mackay. He wins the Mackay with Palantino, a stallion. Who's now got a script on his CV.
Oh, that reminds me. I will get back to you later on, Barton.
And then Blackheart Bart's done that. So that is a genius trainer who's got the arsenal to also pick and choose which races he picks his horses with, and that is 100% legitimate.
Race 9 was taken out by the heavily backed Hellbent. Again, stable money, a few pros, and the other one they backed in the race was Scheidel, and it ran second, so the market pretty much nailed it. And it was
So I confessed about Blackheart Bart, your turn to confess about Hellbent.
the end of Black Saturday for the bookies.
So we've got a history of being heavily backed that horse and letting down the market because he's had some issues, various issues, Hellbent, and on Saturday he looked like a champion. So
I think he is. He's one horse.
you know, well, he won that race so easily. If you're repricing it, you're marking him $1.50, and there's me laying the producers out of him and just.
Fucking hurts when you get one wrong, well done, doesn't it?
It was a very unfortunate finish to the day for me, let me tell you. Anyway, just heads up. That was a very good win. He's a very obvious horse to follow off that.
And he runs, huge closing sections.
He certainly did on Saturday.
3 out of 4
Funnily
runs.
enough, he didn't run very good closing sectionals in the race behind Redzall, and I really had a serious bet on him.
So one thing that narrative and all that, but apparently, I saw that Ben Ascari went to Castaner. Was Castaner and interviewed Brad McLean?
Yeah.
I looked at that after doing all my work because I don't want to fuck me, and he said, "No, Weary got into us because we were a bit soft on him after it won at Sandown.
Yeah.
Redzell flies." So that really adds up. That they went so fast that Hellbent said, "Fuck, I can't cope." Sale was a murderous close.
Yeah.
And the only thing I'm regretting is that we haven't seen Demonstrate before Hellbent, because now everyone will say Frank the form. Fuck, that was the opportunity, because Demonstrate's a model next night off that.
I think that Redzall race is a race that needs very close scrutiny. There was a lot of things about that race that the subsequent runs of the horses in that race, they don't add up.
Why? Like what?
Sunday Escape. Sunday Escape.
Yeah.
Right. It's been back on pace at its next 2 starts.
He missed the start.
Yeah, he did.
He missed the start half a length, and the jockey showed absolutely no urgency. Okay, there were 2 horses that handed up the lead in that race to Redzall.
The thing with
Hellbent got in front of Under the Louvre and made Mark Zara's task on Under the Louvre extremely difficult to get around him. It was just a roadblock in his way. It was, but let's not forget, Hellbent finished last in that race. Okay, there where you can say the horse went to the races a bit pretty, and finished fucking last.
I do
Turn it up.
I think the jockey that day, which you take with a grain of salt, but he said it didn't race happily in between horses, but the result is inexplicable, as you say, finishing last.
Horses to follow. 'Cause you're
Hellbent.
struggling.
What I've done today, I'm going to bring something. That's
You're
my
gonna
horse
bring
to follow.
something. Well, mine's Mahoney, back to a race where there's not 40km/h headwinds.
Hellbent and
And Hellbent.
Sacred Elixir for me.
Yeah,
Sacred Elixir's the Derby
And
horse,
the
I think.
Melbourne 3-year-olds will dominate the Caulfield. Don't get near, don't worry about anything.
Lay impending over the gap.
Exactly.
I think
Let's
Hellbent's
say a
right.
prayer for Juppy.
No, I'm sweet.
You're back.
Anything else, mate? You got Hellbent, anything else?
Oh, I think So Bond just sort of a similar sort of class, probably not the Caulfield Guineas, but a mile race.
Is there a
somewhere
mile
And
race?
what about one out wide for us? What about
Yeah.
a coming maiden
Yeah.
winner?
Oh, look, the
anything else?
last decent maiden I followed was the Yama Australian maiden, which has produced 5 or 6 winners. It's something I like to do is you get onto one of those good maidens where the first 5 or 6 across the line run good races. I tried to find one actually before coming here today, but the last week's been pretty ordinary. So maybe next time if you have me back, I'll bring something along for you.
Well, there is a winner coming up, but you probably won't get it in time. Punters gift if you've been going around in race 7 at Belmore today. It'll be charging up the hill there for DK. That's at RT Ralphie on Twitter and racetrackralphie.com.au. You can head to one to follow and get both Matt and Punters sets. And you just keep me in your thoughts and prayers because I'm absolutely gone. All right, well, I'm going back out on.
Go doggies!
I'm going back out on the pen and ink, so we'll see you again next week, punters. Good luck.